Hey guys, Barrett here with Spec of Tech. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be covering something that I don't typically cover on this channel, and that is the Asus ROG Ally handheld gaming machine. But in this video, we're not really going to highlight the specs and what this unit is all about. There's plenty of other videos and specs online if you want to find that out. Today we're going to be talking about why I returned it after one day. So first of all, let me preface this video by saying I'm not trying to tell you guys not to buy it, because there is definitely a market for this type of device. What I'm going to tell you is why I decided to return it after one day. And hopefully that'll help some of you out there that have the same thought process that I do. So I know that there's some of you out there that are going to disagree with what I say, and you don't mind having some of these issues that I'm going to highlight in this video. And by all means, by all the power to you, if you like this unit and you want to get one of these units, go out and get one. I'm just trying to help those out there that won't necessarily know how to deal with some of these problems or may not understand this unit entirely before they go out and buy one. So let me start by saying that I'm not the type of consumer that believes that I should be a beta tester for a brand new product that hits the market. I feel like a product should be as fully baked as possible when it hits the market for the consumer. I don't feel like we should be the ones beta testing their products, so to speak, for them to find all the bugs and kind of fix them later on or as they go with the product. It should be as fully baked as possible when it hits the market. So let me start with the ergonomics or the hardware itself. First of all, I don't want you to take this that there's nothing good about this product. There's plenty good about it. It has a fantastic 120 Hz 1080p screen. It's one of the best performing units on the market, especially after a recent update that they released right before the product launch. It did kind of fix some of the performance issues that they were experiencing, so it performs very well now. So I'm not trying to slam the hardware in its entirety, but what I am trying to point out is why I returned mine. So first of all, when I got the unit, it does look very nice, like I said, and it is quite large. So keep in mind that this is a 7-inch screen, and then you have the controller units on either side of it. So it is a pretty big unit, which is fine because you do want to have a big screen. But what I found is, like with my Xbox controller, for instance, it does have paddles on the bottom, but I'm able to reach those paddles very easily with my middle fingers, and then I use my index finger for the right bumper, left trigger, and right trigger. Now, the Asus ROG Ally does have the same buttons, and it does have 2 paddle buttons on the back. But what I found is if I'm trying to use my index finger for the top bumper and trigger buttons, it's actually quite a stretch for my middle finger to get to the back paddle buttons. But I did find that they could have placed these paddle buttons in a little bit better spot so that it's more ergonomic for most people. Now, for those of you that do like to use your index and middle finger for the bumper and trigger and then use your ring finger for the paddles, it's probably not going to be as big of an issue. And the other thing that I experienced is that the X, Y, and AB buttons are kind of above the right thumbstick, and it's a little bit more of a reach than what I'm used to with the Xbox controller. So again, a little bit of an ergonomic thing there, but these are things that you can easily look past if the experience itself is fantastic. So let's move on into the software issues that I experienced. So this unit is running Windows 11. So setting up Windows 11 is very simple. It's very easy. It's user-friendly. It's smooth. It's quick. There's no complaints there. So once I got Windows 11 set up, it was time to start checking out some of the gaming aspects. So first of all, this product is running a program called Armoury Crate, which is kind of what they expect you to use. It's kind of like a gaming user interface, and it does have a hardware button to press to bring up Armoury Crate, which is nice to have. So that part is kind of user-friendly. So as long as you know that that button is there to open Armoury Crate, no problems there. That's pretty user-friendly in and of itself. So once you open that, that's where you're going to find Steam and your Xbox Game Pass if you have that. So I was going to be using Steam because I wanted to play Halo Infinite. One thing I haven't covered yet is that one of the main reasons I bought this unit is because I work out of town, and when I'm out of town, I would like to do some gaming that's not on my laptop. I kind of wanted just this, smaller unit to play mostly Halo Infinite on. So that is the main reason that I bought this. So anyway, I opened up Steam, and from there, it's going to want you to sign in. So the first problem that I ran into is it's asking me for my email address or my username so that I can log into Steam. So you press that because it is a touchscreen. So I pressed on it to try and open the keyboard so that I could type in that box. Well, the cursor went into that text field, but the virtual keyboard did not open up. Obviously, there's no hardware keyboard attached to this. You can connect one wirelessly, but there's no hardware for you to type in anything on. So it's a virtual keyboard, but the virtual keyboard didn't open. So I thought, okay, maybe it's the first time I'm loading this. So I'll close it down, I'll reopen it, and then I'll try and sign in again. So then I got to that point where I sign in, I click on that text box, and it's giving me the cursor, but it's not giving me my virtual keyboard. So kind of the first red flag of, some of the software not being optimized. It's not really optimized for such a small screen, and it's not really optimized for touchscreen in general. So the first workaround that I had to find is how to pull up the keyboard. And of course, they do have a way that you can do this. There is a command center button on the left-hand side that does give you some options, and one of them is to manually open the virtual keyboard. So I found that. I opened the virtual keyboard, and then the next problem, which is an optimization problem, is the keyboard was covering the box where I was trying to log in. So you have to resize the keyboard, which again, at least there's that option. You can resize it, and then you can see what you're typing into the box. And then I could go to the password part and then type that in, now that I know how to manually open the virtual keyboard. But again, I'm pointing this out because it's not streamlined. It's not geared towards somebody that's not going to know that's not very tech savvy, that knows how to open these things or knows where to look for these things. It's just a little bit more difficult. It's not the user-friendly experience that I was hoping for, especially given the fact that this product in Canada is $899 plus tax. So I think I paid about $945 for this unit. I'm expecting something a little bit more fully baked. But at the same time, that wasn't enough for me to just cross this unit off, because it is a very nice unit and I am looking really forward to playing some Halo. So I at least wanted to get into Halo. So I got signed in. I opened up Halo. Or downloaded Halo, I should say. First of all, I believe it was 45 gigs, so that took a little while, but that's to be expected. That's normal. And then when I opened Halo, it did take a lot longer to initially open up my first round, so it had to load the map and has to load everything. And of course, again, this is being handheld unit. I did have it plugged in though, and I wasn't in turbo mode. I was, I believe, in 15 watt mode, which is extreme, I think. Anyway, it did take a little while, but again, that's to be expected. But for those of you that think that this is going to operate like an Xbox, it's not as quick, especially on the initial startup. After that, of course, it does load a lot quicker from round to round. But the problem that I experienced is there's two different types of setups. So you have your desktop setup, so your buttons are kind of geared towards a desktop experience. And then you have the game setup, so your buttons can be geared towards a gaming experience. So I did set that up. I set my paddles to be A and B because I do like to be able to use my jump and crouch with my middle fingers versus taking my thumb off the right thumbstick for those two buttons, because you do use them quite a bit. So I had that set up. And then in the command center, like I said, there's that hardware button to open the command center. There is an option there for you to change from game setup to desktop setup, or auto, which should automatically switch to your game setup when you're in a game. So I had it set to auto, thinking that it should automatically switch to my game configuration, but it didn't. So when I went into the game, it was still on my desktop configuration. So I knew where to go to change this, which is in the command center. And sure enough, when I opened it, it said auto, but it wasn't working. So I had to manually change that to my game configuration. And once I did that, Halo recognized that as me holding down the trigger button, even though I wasn't touching the trigger button. And it's weird that it would only choose that trigger button, but that's what it chose. And as soon as I switched to my game configuration, it decided that the trigger button was being held down. So what it did is it emptied out my clip, and if I reloaded, it would empty out that clip, and if I reloaded, it would empty out that clip. So it was pretty much pointless. I couldn't play. So I thought, okay, well, maybe, first time playing Halo, a little bit of a bug. So I close it down, I reopen it, and again, it's in my desktop setup because it didn't automatically switch. So I manually switch to the game configuration again, and the exact same thing happens. It acts as if I have the trigger held down, so it empties out my clip. So, okay, so now the workaround I guess I have to do is make sure that I'm in the gaming setup before I get into the game. And when I did that, then I was actually able to finally play Halo without him emptying out the clip. Each of these individual things can probably be looked past, especially if you're really excited about this hardware. You're really excited to be able to have this in your hand and game at that level. Now, keep in mind that I did have everything set to low, and I did experience a little bit of lag here and there, just a little bit of like animation lag when it's panning through the characters in the beginning before the round. There was some lag there, and when I'm playing, there's some lag. And I believe even with everything set to low, I was experiencing about 40-some frames per second. So it's not terrible, but it's not the greatest either. But that did drop sometimes to 30-some frames per second. But still workable, still playable. And it would be, if it was a smooth experience, then that would have been fantastic. But like I said in the beginning of this video, I don't want to be a beta tester. I don't think I should be experiencing these types of issues and already having to find little workarounds to get things to work properly or smoothly on the release of a product that cost me $900 plus tax. Now, there may be those of you out there that think differently, and that's fine. By all means, you can get this unit. It's a fantastic looking unit. It's got some of the best hardware built in. So it is a great unit, but you are going to have to be a little bit, at least in my opinion, a little bit of a beta tester in the beginning. So that's what made me decide to return mine. And of course, Best Buy was great about returning it, which is great. But I just don't feel like these should be issues that we're experiencing on units that cost this much money at this point in time. And I understand that some of these issues might be the fact that Windows 11 isn't exactly optimized for a touchscreen unit like this. I get that, but if that's the case, then they should be finding workarounds before they release their product to market. I also know that when they had initially sent these units out to for reviewers to review, they sent them out with many issues. So there's a lot of negative reviews out there that they did release a firmware update that fixed a lot of those issues that some of these reviewers were experiencing. But it just goes to show that they are rushing this to market. Like they sent it out to reviewers. It wasn't even half-baked at that time, in my opinion, because the performance was way down. That was the main thing, I guess, that was being experienced, is very slow performance. And they did fix that. So the performance is up there. Like it's one of the best now. But again, on the day of release, which was June 13th, I'm still experiencing software bugs and issues, and that's just what I experienced in the first couple hours of using it. That's not to say that I couldn't have experienced a lot more issues. Maybe drop your comments down below if there's those of you out there that kept your unit and you've experienced more issues. Please drop those down in the comments so that other people can read that and understand what they're buying before they buy it. And really all this video is about, guys, is trying to help those of you out there that may not understand this unit entirely and maybe thinking that you're going to get a smooth, user-friendly experience right off the bat. And I don't think that's the case. So I'm just trying to warn you. I'm trying to give you as much information as I can so that you know and you're educated on this product before you go and purchase it. I know there's a lot of you out there that don't really care about what I just listed off. You're going to get the unit anyway because you kind of know how to work around these things and you're very tech savvy. And by all means, it is one of the nicest units out there when it comes to handheld gaming machines. So it's not a bad unit, and I'm not trying to talk everybody out of buying it. I just want you to be aware and I want you to be educated of what you're getting into when you do buy this unit, and that it's not going to be a perfect experience, especially not right off the bat. So I really do hope this video helps, and if it does, please consider subscribing, tick the bell icon if you do, and please take just one short second to hit that like button. I always do appreciate it. Remember to enjoy your gaming. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.